Scott Burnside, ESPN.com here on the latest edition of Hockey Today, the podcast. We hear from Henrik Lundqvist of the New York Rangers. Trevor Daley of the Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins stops by. And so does Charlie Coyle of the Minnesota Wild.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me a boom.
It's Friday. What up, Doe?
He's Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby.
Yes, indeed.
We're Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do we do, Jalen?
We get it, people.
Yes. You're back. Thank you, Jalen. Thank you. On behalf of all of our listeners and watchers, thank you.
It's kind of because I'm feeling myself.
Good for you, Jalen.
For the first time in a year and a half, I ran up and down a basketball court and shot hoops.
You did.
And I got a chance to do it with the best co-host in the industry.
I love that.
David Jacoby.
I wish we could be on the same team, though. We have to cover each other.
What's the old man run?
I wish we could be on the same team. Yeah, there's no one there that's over 6'2". We have to cover each other. So much fun. I love to get a sweat. You know who else is back in the basketball court? Dwayne Wade. Back in Miami. He said it felt weird. He just wanted it to get over with. And he did. Pat Riley told David Aldridge something very interesting. He said, we should have given Dwayne Wade that max deal when LeBron left. That's on me. I made a mistake. Do you believe that he really feels that way?
I do, because just think about how the dominoes fell. They paid Chris Bosh. The intentions was for him to still be a part of the team, but he had his unfortunate health issues. Dwayne Wade and LeBron James really were joined at the hip in a lot of ways. Once he left, remember, LeBron went to Cleveland and only signed a one-year deal. So Wade wanted to basically keep his options open as well. So while Pat wanted to possibly sign Wade to a long-term deal, the only way it would have happened is if he would have signed him to a max deal. So again, as I look back at how this eventual divorce took place, I think it was a win-win for both teams. And what everybody is overlooking, stop saying he left for $6 to $8 million. That is not why he left. He left because he didn't get a third year from the team that he played for 13 years, and other teams offered him 2 years. He offered him 2 years. He's like, I'm out because I'm not getting a third year.
It did feel a little bit personal between Riley and Wade, with the way that they never spoke to each other, that, you know, the way they didn't negotiate it out. It seemed like Wade felt hurt and then said, you know what, I'm leaving.
Well, if you look at who's a part of this process, one of the all-time puppet masters in Pat Riley, there's a reason why I affectionately called them what?
The Miami Mafia.
Okay, so it's not easy to lead a family.
No.
And when you lead the family, you out of the family. We don't acknowledge you anymore. I think one of my favorite 50 verses before he got signed, it was like a freestyle, just crazy. He was like, love your enemies, hate your friends. Your enemies stay the same, your friends change.
Ooh, huh.
And when we talk about having rivalry in sports and loyalty also, that works both ways. If you have Tim Duncan, who ushered in Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Kawhi Leonard, and you still have that infrastructure to be good going forward, then you can afford to let Tim be in and out of the lineup, playing limited minutes, having 2 points some nights, and still make the playoffs. But if you're the Lakers and you give Kobe a long-term deal late in his career, you're basically signing him for work that he's already put in, not necessarily for the fact that he was going to lead the team in the playoffs, which stymies the growth of their young team, which is now flourishing that he's not on the roster. So it works a few different ways, but for Wade to be on a team now that's going to make it to the playoffs, Miami, a team that's not going to make it to the playoffs, I think ultimately it's a win-win for both sides.
Yep. DeMarcus Cousins is also known as
Boogie!
Our man Boogie had his first hold me back moment.
And
of the
like
season.
you, faithful JR donor.
I love that about him. It's hard. It's easy to say you're going to do something. It's hard to actually do it.
And Jamal Crawford.
Love that about him, too. Well, Boogie had a hold me back moment.
He did.
Hold me back! But
And he made 3 threes.
This was a hold me back moment with Julius Randle. Both went where?
Kentucky.
Don't you think there should be more Kentucky love? There should be more Wildcat pride?
It's almost impossible because they have a star player on every team.
And they're only there for a year. You know?
It only means like you not getting along with anybody, basically, because look at the Phoenix team. Like they have like 4 or 5 Kentucky players on that actual roster.
What?
So I'm not surprised that these two players would get tangled up when the Lakers broke a 7-game losing streak versus the Kings. It says a lot about the direction of those two franchises. One built around an all-NBA performer and Boogie Team USA All-Star, but wasn't able to put the requisite pieces around them, versus the Laker team that did it through the draft, got Randall, Larry Nance Jr., D'Angelo Russell, as well as Jordan Clarkson. Now they have the makings of a young bunch that's playing pretty good basketball.
Losing is frustrating. We saw it with John Wall and Marcus Smart. You know, now we see it with Boogie and Julius Randle. Losing is really frustrating, especially when it's this early in the season and you're looking up and you're saying all of that hope that we had in training camp, all of that, you know, those practices where we looked really good.
And we could be a 7, 8
yeah, like, you
seed.
know what? Like, maybe we can sneak in the playoffs this year. Like, you know what? The Sacramento Kings are looking up and saying, looks like it's going to be another one of those years. And the Wizards look like they're in a little trouble, too. Kevin Durant had 18 points, which is significant because that broke a streak of 72 games where he had 20-point games. He was 1 for 7 shooting outside of the paint. Who do you think will score more, Durant or Curry?
The leading scorer for the Warriors will ultimately be Steph Curry.
Yep.
Because of the 3-point shot.
Yep.
The best statistic for this goes no further than he hadn't scored 30-plus in a game until he erupted and made 13 threes. And this was after he went 0 for 10 from 3. Mm-hmm. And since then, he's been on a tear. Kevin Durant is going to mix his game up more. Get more mid-range, get some isolations, get some dunks, get some post-ups, and just the flurries that Steph is going to play in with having the basketball in his hand and the ability to catch and shoot a feathery touch and get it off so very fast. He ultimately leads them in scoring, but I'm not surprised. Streaks like this are going to get broken.
Yeah.
You saw Steph's 3-point streak get broken. Clay started off the season struggling from 3. Draymond won't score as much as he did in the past.
Nope.
This is the ultimate sacrifice that this bunch made when they decided to play together.
When those Warriors go to Toronto next week, they're going to go there on Drake night. The Toronto Raptors have a Drake night, which I absolutely love. They do various different Drake-themed things. They had like a Hotline Bling area where you could dance like Drake. They play Drake songs throughout it. He sits in the front row. If I was Drake, I'd be like, do we really have to do this when the Warriors come to town? Does this have to be my night when the best team in the NBA comes to town?
No, you got to look at it this way. We're going to do it on the night when the most popular team in the game comes to town. That's the first thing.
I'd rather have something to celebrate.
And also, he has relationships on both sides, so it makes sense. But the refreshing thing for me, and whether it's Jay-Z initially with the Nets, Usher with the Cavs, Serena and a couple other people with the Miami Dolphins, Nelly with the Hornets. I just appreciate the fact that corporate America continues to understand that hip-hop sells.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's always tricky because it's one of those things that you truly try not to embrace, because you can't tell me a lot of the people that are put in these positions want their kids in the basement listening to some of the lyrics that rappers say in their records.
Nope.
So that creates an interesting dichotomy of the strength that hip-hop truly carries. And I appreciate that it's being acknowledged.
He's the fan ambassador. I especially think with Jay-Z being part of an owner of the Nets for a while there, and Usher also has an investment in the Cavs. It just leads me to think, when are you going to become part of an owner?
It'll happen hopefully
come
one
on,
day.
Jay. Come on.
It'll happen. Maybe we just wait for the Pistons to move to Detroit.
They move downtown. Change, new regime.
It'll only be right. I got to talk.
Only be right.
I got to talk to my good friend Tom Gores about that.
Let's do that.
But Chuck D said it best as I see corporate America embracing hip hop. They play the music. It's time to play the lyrics.
Jalen, I'm going to ask a ludicrous question, okay? I know the answer is no, but let's just discuss it and make a case.
Okay.
The Clippers are the best team in the NBA.
No.
Okay. I know the answer is no. I do not believe that the Clippers are the best team in the NBA, but
the Cavs are clearly the best team in their conference, and the Warriors are the best team in their conference. Yep. Now, can the Clippers and the San Antonio Spurs upset the apple cart?
Sure.
Potentially.
Yeah. Anyone, we've all seen postseasons that go awry.
Those are the only 4 teams in the league that are saying, if we don't win this year's championship, no, I'll take that back. 3 of those teams are saying that. The Clippers will celebrate if they make it to the conference finals.
They'll have a parade. The Clippers have far and away the league's best defensive rating at 89.3 points per 100%.
You know what I learned not to do?
Best defense.
You know what I learned not to do
Best defense.
early in the season? A couple of things. Basketball 101. Let's do this.
Okay.
Everybody say it with me. We're not going to talk about who the MVP is going to be 10 games into the year. We're not going to regurgitate stats.
Please?
This is not the NFL.
Please?
Okay.
Go with me now.
All right.
Best defensive rating. Do you know what I don't like? The per 100 possessions thing. It's like, wait, what? Per 100? It's like, huh? What about per game?
Correct.
How many games have there been? Who have they played?
But in your opinion, do they look like the best team?
No, not close. No.
But they played some of the best games.
It's just,
in particular, how they performed against the Spurs.
I feel from the many basketball conversations that I have that the Clippers are often overlooked. And there's something about consistency. 4 of their 5 starters have been the same 4 or 5 starters for 3 years in a row. There's something about consistency. They're not trying to work in Kevin Durant. They're not trying to do anything, you know?
Well, look at it like this. Who are the teams that you feel like have been ahead of the Clippers the last couple of seasons?
Thunder, but they're new now.
Who was their small forward?
Kevin Durant.
Okay.
The Warriors. The Spurs.
Okay. The Warriors have multiple people between 6'5" and 6'8" that are interchangeable. The Spurs, who is their small forward?
Kawhi Leonard.
Okay. Who's the Cavs' small forward?
A gentleman by the name of LeBron James.
That's where they've been. They've been hovering around 4th.
What about Mbah Moute?
Not going to be able to do it.
Not going to be able to do it? You don't think he's at that class yet?
No.
Playing good defense,
No.
Jay?
No.
No?
I think he's a serviceable NBA player and deserves to be in the league, but I just mentioned the guys that he got to match up against.
Can you do the thing where you tell everybody that Rudy Gays is going to get traded to the Clippers again? I love this.
And Rudy Gays balling. He understands his value and that teams are going to be in the market for a player like him. Don't be surprised if he ends up in Los Angeles as a member of the Clippers.
I had one of those I have to talk to Jalen about this moment. When you were in the league, there was a certain coach by the name of Larry Brown that gave you a bunch of DMPs, and it was very impactful in your career. Your man, Trey Burke, had this to say about his time in Utah. Quote, "They couldn't break me. That's what they tried to do. They couldn't break me, though. They give me DMPs. Everybody asks me, what's going on? Why are you not playing? There's a reason why everybody is asking me that."
Well, it works both ways. I appreciate his attitude because once you stop looking in the mirror and believing in yourself, you're done. Yeah. So, not a member of the Jazz or a member of the Wizards are going to believe in him as much as he should be believing in himself.
Sure.
That's first and foremost. The next thing, and it's kind of skewed because it's a personal pride thing. It's almost like when the media talks about unnamed sources or when media members say everybody's talking about, usually what they mean is they're talking about it. They're just masking it for other people's voices. And here's what I mean. When he says everybody's asking me what's going on, that's not the people that are looking at his stats and saying, man, they took you in the lottery. You're not balling. Mm-hmm. I see why you're not playing. I see why they took Dante Exum. Those are your family, friends, and your confidants and people that care about you. Including people like me. Because I asked them that too. So I understand that he has a new opportunity. Hopefully he can now show that he has staying power in the league because being the backup to John Wall is going to give him that profile
What does he
opportunity
mean by
to
they
show.
tried to break me, though? What does he mean by that?
You know what trying to break me means? Is that I love to play basketball and I'm on punishment. That's all it means. When you do something bad and your parents put you on punishment, it's like, you not only are you on punishment, that's what I'm going to allow you to do. I'm going to allow you to look out the window and watch everybody else play.
Here's what's going to happen, though, is I just feel like Quinn Snyder is going to be like, oh, I wasn't trying to break you, Mr. Burke. I was trying to win basketball games and you were not helping me. So you can act like it was the system trying to break you, but really what it was is you not playing that well.
I want to quote the great American philosopher David Jacoby on this. Everyone's a victim in their own drama series.
Everyone's a victim in their own drama series?
What did you say?
Everyone's a hero in their own movie.
Yeah, something like that.
Everyone's a victim in their own drama series.
Yeah, I knew you said something. I was trying to give you props.
I appreciate it, though. I am a great American philosopher. Your man, Andre Drummond, is shooting a career-high 52% from the free throw line. 52%. Are you encouraged as a Pistons fan?
I am encouraged. He and Dwight Howard, as I mentioned, coming into this year, are going to be the best big men, especially playing the center spot in the Eastern Conference. Joel Embiid, while he's on a minutes restriction, has shown some flashes, being able to shoot the three, block some shots, but he's on Philly. And so that part of Andre's game won't be more pronounced than when games get close, and if he's able to stay on the floor because he's making them at that point versus him having to be taken out of the game because he's becoming a liability at the line.
Can we talk about Conor McGregor in the press conference?
Sure.
White fur coat, dressed crazy, shows up, steals Eddie Alvarez's belt, and then Eddie Alvarez says this and that, and then he acts like he's going to pick up a chair and then hit Eddie Alvarez with it. Why is he acting like that?
And the outfit was one that was inspired from back in the day. Don't sleep. Do some research on that. I just gave you a nugget. Hopefully somebody drop it in your ear who he was dressed like. The whole look.
Santa Claus?
No, the pants.
It looked kind of Santa Claus to me. Santa? No?
Nope. One of the great fights that have taken place in the history of the sport. Hint. The fighter was going against Muhammad Ali when they did it.
Okay.
But for Conor, I just see somebody trying to promote a fight.
It just doesn't feel genuine to me.
He missed a big-time payday that would have gotten him $10 million when he failed to promote the fight and fell out with Dana White. He missed another payday when the situation with Floyd Mayweather didn't fall through. Now you see Floyd warming back up to the easy money against Pacquiao. And now McGregor's like, what about me? What about me? I'm fighting at MSG. I'm the draw. I'm the guy that everybody should be paying attention to. I'm shooting jump shots in my briefs. I'm acting up at the press conference. What about me? So it will create great theater, but it will be interesting to see, if he's able to live up to it and perform. That's what I love about that sport, is that you don't go undefeated. That's almost like Father Time and Gravity. You don't go undefeated in that sport. So I'm interested to see if he's able to live up to it. But more importantly, what's next for him?
No, more importantly, let's talk about that jump shot in Madison Square Garden. Why is he wearing his underwear? Like, why was that part of it? A. B. Yeah, you hit the shot from about 19 feet straight on.
Off the glass.
But it went off the glass straight on. Like, does that really count?
No.
Does that really count?
No.
Like, can you really celebrate that and run around like you just did something like you're a two-sport athlete? You went off the glass, and then rim, and then another rim, and then in.
How about just the fact that you want to make a point to do it in your briefs?
What?
That in itself just makes it more of a mockery to me. But I am impressed by the fact that he's turned himself into a terrific fighter and an amazing showman.
Yeah, he is.
In a sport that
I
can
love
truly
his
use
personality.
it. Me too.
I love him.
And if I was on the East Coast, I would definitely attend the fight.
Researchers have found that rats love to be tickled. They giggle and they jump for joy when they get tickled. I just have to speak on this for a second. What are these researchers doing with their time? How is that helping us? What is going on?
Well, it looked like
what are they tickling rats?
They're tickling rats.
That's what they're doing all day. Like, you know what? If my wife came home, she said, "How was work?" I was like, "Oh, it was good. We did a show. We had some laughs. It was a good time." "Oh, how was your day?" You know what I did? I put on a lab coat and I tickled rats all day. I'd be like, "What is going on?"
But you know what? I'm not going to laugh at science. I'm not with you on that.
Oh no!
There's been some amazing developments.
No, you can't. You cannot tell me that rat tickling is getting us anywhere.
Seemed frivolous. It's just. How about this?
How about this? Don't tickle rats for a living. Don't tickle rats for a living.
It's the real life version of the Clumps or Nutty Professor. Real life version of Nutty Professor. That's all.
Don't tickle rats. Of course they like it.
Give me the plot to the Nutty Professor.
Okay. Eddie Murphy is a professor.
He is.
He's heavy.
Hercules.
He's heavy. He plays a lot of different roles. There's a dinner scene.
Ain't it amazing?
He's playing all the different roles.
Ain't it amazing when Eddie learned I could get all of the money by taking all of the acting jobs in all of my movies?
I get $10 million to play the Nutty Professor, and then we hire somebody else for $1 million to play my wife, and somebody else for $1 million to play my kid. How about you give me $12 million, and I'll play everybody at the dinner table? And then at the end, at the very end of the movie, the Nutty Professor.
You better mention Janet Jackson's name anyway.
The Nutty Professor and Janet Jackson.
Thank you.
Tickle rats for like 5 minutes. So that's how it goes, right? That's how it goes.
Good job.
It is harder to summarize movie plots than I thought it would be.
Thank you.
It is because I haven't seen the Nutty Professor for 20 years.
And you truly didn't give a plot, actually.
No.
What you just
You, Jalen, you are going to criticize this? Are you sure you want to do this?
No, I just see how it sounds now. I didn't realize how ridiculous it sounds.
It is ridiculous. Yep. On this program, we have a motto. Part of giving the people what they want is interacting with the people, going on to Twitter, giving the people what they want. These are questions that we got from our listeners. The first question that we have is this. This is from Bober and Nate Hot Takes. They always support us. Big shout out to them. Thoughts on hooping outdoors. What do you like, dislike? Any deal breakers? Here's one thing I've learned.
I want you to start with this.
Here's one thing I've learned, okay? People that are really good at basketball, like really good, like either they got paid to play basketball or they played Division I and they started. People that are really good at basketball, they're too soft. They're too soft to play outside. Yep. People that are really good do not play outside. That's why I love to play outside. I love to play outside. You're in a park environment. There's no doors. People are walking by and watching the sunshine. You sweat. Have yourself maybe an adult beverage afterwards in the sun. I love to play outside. And then people like you are going to say, "Oh, my knees. Oh, my knees. Oh, it's so hard on my body." Come on now. Another thing I love about it, I can't shoot jump shots, okay? No. If you ever play me, just understand, I can't shoot jump shots. So at the park, no one can shoot jump shots.
All great stuff. I have a few things that impair me personally from wanting to play outside.
Because you're soft. Because you're soft.
And I fit the criteria of individuals you described. But I'm going to tell you why.
You're soft.
Because if I have a basketball tattoo, it's actually because I got paid to play basketball. Not because I hope to get paid to play basketball. I waited till I was getting paid first.
I have a pet peeve of people that have basketball-related tattoos that are not good at basketball.
I made sure I got a check.
Pet peeve of mine.
I made sure I got a check before I got it.
Yeah. Also, don't get the Jordan logo tattoo.
No, not
That's
at
a
all.
company logo.
Well, here's a couple of things about playing outside. The one thing I love this. The random audience of being outside. I love that.
Just people stop by, people walking dogs, a homeless dude will just take a seat and just watch for 90 minutes.
As somebody that was really good at basketball, trust me, I used to love that. Mm-hmm. But that's really about it.
You don't like the sunshine, the camaraderie, like the park environment, people walking by, women walking by.
I started loving that all the way up until I discovered, it feels good to be in the gym.
That's the softness.
When I got like 13 and I start playing in the
every
gym,
time you play, there's someone who folds your shorts for you.
Man.
Stretching.
So here are a couple of things. By the way, we encourage all types of basketball because I love the sport. But
I will play outside in jeans.
This kind of like our first class versus coach conversation. And by the way, I was on an airplane recently. To me, somebody should be arrested from coming out of coach using the bathroom in first class, especially if they stink up the bathroom.
You've changed, Jalen. You've changed.
Like, seriously, that's one.
You've changed.
And two, if you ain't coach, when you walk past first class, don't put your bags up there. Like,
I do that all the time.
Yeah, don't put your bags up there.
I'll take a hard left. If I'm in coach, I'll take a left just to go to first class, act like I'm going to sit in a first class seat just to put my bag there, and then walk back to my middle seat in the back of the plane.
And this is why I say arrested. That same person will come to first class, get something out of their bag, and go to the bathroom, then go to the bag.
Jalen, there's not like a locked gate. It's a curtain, a flimsy curtain that you can see through. You can easily just go there.
I know, but just like they put up the barrier for when the pilot needs to go to the bathroom.
Hold on. I want to talk about that. Anyone who has sat on a plane has seen them take the drink cart and put the barrier there when the pilot has to use the bathroom, right? And every single person has thought to themselves, that's not safe enough. Like, that is not, the drink cart is not safe enough. We need to come, as the NSA needs to come up with something a little more secure than a couple of like mini vodka bottles and a 12-ounce soda can put in front of somebody so they can keep everyone on the plane alive. Just something I gotta say.
I agree.
I'm sorry, please continue.
I will continue. And back to playing outside. Here's a couple of things that didn't work for me when I discovered the gym. Not good for your back, not good for your knees. And more importantly, I hate falling on cement. Yep. Now, you can foul me in the gym, but falling on that cement and you wake up with those berries on your legs and on your elbows.
See, I think there's a point where you get so good at basketball that you don't play outside anymore. Because I've talked to other ex-NBA players and ex-college players, and they all feel the same way. Like, oh, you guys are playing outside? No, I can't do it.
And here's a couple of other things that I don't like about playing outside. The wind.
I love that. I don't jump shoot.
Not efficient for my jumper, my runner, or my floater. It doesn't feel as good. And then I find myself only trying to get layups each time.
That's the whole point. Another thing I love about it is there's certain backboards that you could just shoot it out of a cannon and it'll just soak up all that and put it right in the hoop.
Another thing I love about playing outside, love chain nets. Love.
They don't make those anymore.
Oh,
now here's the thing. Anyone who's over 6'2" knows they love the sound, they love the look, everything about it, except if you play big and you're down low and you try to block a shot and next thing you know your finger's caught in a chain net and you got a huge cut in your hand. No.
Now here's one of the things when you're a serious basketball player that you really dislike. The time between when one game ends and the next game starts, and what everybody's doing in between that time. Guys on the phone, guys smoking, guys drinking, guys celebrating, guys sitting down. I'm like,
running to the car and coming back. That's a big West Coast East Coast difference thing.
I'm like, wow,
in the East Coast, in New York City, there's about there's about a 45-second break in between the games. In Los Angeles,
cats celebrating,
30
walking
minutes.
around talking about plays that happen.
Yep.
I'm like,
running to the store and coming back, getting on the phone. Let's move on.
Love basketball.
Yep. Bass Reeves has this question. Are you guys excited to watch Dave Chappelle on Saturday Night Party?
I'm not excited. That's very nice. That is very nice.
Bass, I just want you to know, the greatest compliment that Jalen Rose can pay you, the two words that he can put together that mean the most to him are very nice.
I like that
when he really, really likes something, he says very nice. So shout out to you,
I like
Bass.
That. And not only do I look forward to it, I'm enthusiastic about it.
Me too.
As somebody that is old enough to remember when Saturday Night Live was at its peak, and
it's had like 10 peaks.
Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, like it had an initial just thrust. I have not been as excited about it until now.
Here's the thing.
That's how enthusiastic
I know how this is going to work. Right after the election, a bunch of people called up Dave Chappelle and said, I want in. There's going to be a lot of cameos. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of cameos this Saturday night. My biggest question for you, though, Jalen, I know you really well. Are you going to stay up and watch it?
I take a red-eye flight, So I will DVR it.
Okay. There's no chance I stay up until 1 a.m. There's a better chance I'm awake at 1 a.m. in the morning than I am still up about to go to sleep at 1 a.m. at night. Next question we have is from Kenny O. Simple question. Did the Fab Five's name have anything to do with Fab Five Freddy? It's something that I thought of at the time because he was real popular at the time.
I'm glad this question is being asked. But we didn't want to be called the Fab Five. We actually had a corny name 5 times.
I love this story. You guys really wanted to be called
we
5 times.
Won. We won for all.
5 times.
We had the handshake and everything.
You wouldn't be in this studio right now if you guys stuck with that name. For real, you wouldn't be. You wouldn't be here. It would have been so different if you guys were 5 times. No one would even remember you guys.
The greatest thing about that nickname is, 1, we didn't give it to ourselves. 2, when we saw that the media was calling us that, as somebody that's an avid Yo MTV Raps watcher, I didn't want to embrace it because I'm still a fan of Fab Five Freddy. He was fly. He's cool. He's hip. He has flavor.
Wore his sunglasses all the time.
I'm a fan. So I almost felt bad that we were basically stealing his
co-opting
name.
him. Yeah, it's almost like you need a cosign from him.
No question about it. So that's a great question.
Another great question is from Eric. When's the last time you wore a jersey, any sport, not to play in a game? And if not, what's the next question? And if not your own, then who?
I'm pretty sure I've worn a Michigan jersey within the last few years for football.
Are you sure? I'm gonna say no, you didn't do that. I'm trying to think about this. I haven't worn a jersey in a long time. You know what the last jersey I bought though? In a store. It has a bunch of vintage jerseys. Jalen Rose, Denver Nuggets.
That's what's up. Thank you, sir.
It's a retro. It was a retro.
Thank
though.
you. Thank you. I
It was
need
the
those
blue,
royalties.
the blue one with the gold.
I need those
with the
royalties.
And this is a thrift shop. I don't know if that money's gonna find you. I don't know if that money's gonna find you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The last jersey that I wore while I wasn't playing, it had to be a Michigan Wolverine jersey or a Lions jersey, but I don't remember who it was or when.
That's fair. Next question we have is from Austin.
I'll take that back. Larry Bird jersey. I wore it for BET. They were doing some sort of version of Cribs, and I did an interview with them.
Can we please find this tape? And I will do an entire segment of our show just breaking down that tape like it's Super Bowl film of your BET Cribs. Do you know what the show was called?
It was more of an interview.
Before they showed up, the hour before they got there, what did you do?
Clean it up.
Next and final question.
Brace yourself.
Oh, so you're trying to get me back, huh?
Explain a movie plot.
Just give the people what they want, Jalen. Kunal wants you to explain the plot to Ocean's 11.
It's 11 people.
Yep, definitely that. Yeah, 11
Right,
of them.
no-
There's
no
11
doubt.
of them.
Water's a huge,
Water's a big,
factor
it's a
in
big
what's
part
gonna
of our
take place.
planet. Yeah, it's a big part of our planet. You
know what I mean?
There's 11 people. There's some water.
and not just a beach or a man-made lake. Oceans.
Oceans, multiple
11
oceans.
of them.
11 oceans.
Right.
That's exactly right.
And the goal for that is there's a lifeguard.
Yep.
And he wants to
Yep.
make sure he saves people from drowning.
Yeah. I mean, no one wants to see anybody drown.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just a collection of times where he had to encounter different people who were on the beach, and
in
had
danger.
issues directly and indirectly with the water.
Exactly. That was a great summary of the plot to Baywatch. Marquette King is a fan of the Jalen Jacoby program. If you don't know Marquette King's name, that's because he's a punter for the Raiders, but he is now becoming part of the zeitgeist. Why, Mr. Rose?
He's a guy, while we have a really limited guest list, that has an open invite here.
Come on the show, Marquette King. We have to discuss this.
He has personality, showmanship, and a sense of humor. Because a lot of times on this program, when we straight shoot people, they may or may not take it the right way.
Exactly. You said you were trying to just explain to Mr. King that perhaps he should tone down some of the theatrics after good punts.
I was just trying to give wisdom as somebody that's just a little bit older than him, that paid attention to the history of his position in the current landscape of how many African-American kickers and punters there are in the National Football League. And my research told me that he's the only one.
He's the only one.
And
not the only minority, but he's the only
when I was
African-American.
taking it a step further, I'm like, Reggie Roby?
Not a long list.
Not a litany of people that look like him punting and kicking the ball. So my advice was just sneak attack. Stay low. Keep firing.
Stay low, keep firing.
Like Biggie said.
I can't tell you how many times Jalen Rose says to me, stay low, keep firing.
And by the way, that was a reminder from me. I can't remember the DJ's name that Charlemagne the God follows. I follow Charlemagne and saw him retweet his tweet. And I needed that day. And I retweeted it too. The Biggie line. Stay low, keep firing. That's all I'm saying to Mr. King.
Mr. King tweeted, quote, I didn't think it was that bad, but I was a little uncoordinated. Now, as someone who can't dance, I appreciated the actual dance. I thought it was goofy. It was fun. It was the kind of guy you want to have dancing at your wedding. Just not taking it too serious. Just keeping it light and having fun.
If he's going to dance like that, sober, you probably wouldn't want him dancing at the wedding.
No. And then he tweeted, at Jalen Rose with the goat emoji. That's a high compliment.
That's much love.
That's the highest compliment you can get in
it
emoji
is.
form.
And our coordinated producer of NBA Countdown, Amina, is from Oakland,
Big
a
shout to
diehard
Amina.
Raiders fan.
Big shout to Amina.
And we've talked the last couple of years about going to sit with the black and silver fans in the stands at a game. And since it has not happened, based on his tweet and that affiliation, I'm going to make sure that goes down. It'll be a lot of fun.
It'll be a great trip to Vegas. Thank you so much for listening on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News, and subscribing.
Thank you
to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast.
You're far too kind.
I'm Dan Graziano, and on the latest edition of the NFL Nation podcast, we preview the Monday Night Football matchup between the Giants and the Bengals. I'll be joined by Catherine Terrell and Jordan Ranan to break down that game.
Red Hot USC heads to Seattle to face fourth-ranked Washington.
Far left side of the field for the end zone. Jump ball, Darius Rogers. Touchdown, USC.
Coverage begins Saturday at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.